Alright guys, and welcome back. My name is DFree, and for today's video we have a new scout. So there's actually a few things that have popped up since the last video, so stay tuned because we'll basically be covering them all there. Again, pretty big week for content, I guess. But for starters, we're going to talk about the new Yuuki banner alongside Asuna. I believe this is Mother's Rosario stuff, so I'm excited about this. Off the jump, they're both pretty good. It's really hard to gauge. I need to come back and do another tier list, but it's really hard to gauge how good characters are with the game in its infancy. And what I mean by that is they're introducing things that we haven't seen before. They're starting to get a little bit more into the magic-based characters and magic-based buffers and stuff like that. So we're starting to see this stuff pop up a good bit. If I were to guess which or to recommend a specific banner that's live right now that you should summon on, it would be this one, because this Asuna with her awakening gauge and her card and all that stuff it's very powerful. Now I unfortunately am like 8 multis I think on this banner without a single SSR, so finally the bad luck has caught up to me because I have been able to pull every other character except for, I haven't pulled on this new banner, but I have been able to pull everything except for that Asuna and now these characters that I haven't tried for. Also, speaking of try for them, there is an event that is tied to this where you can get summon tickets if you want to go ahead and wait until you get all your summon tickets. That is a new event where you choose a side between Asuna and Alice, and I'll cover those characters and talk about that in a little bit. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the characters that are here. So the first thing I'll say is they're starting to really try to flesh out these teams, like I said, with magic, things like that. Wind and water are high priorities for this banner. They're the main typings. And what I meant when I said they're trying to introduce new stuff, they're trying things out that we haven't seen before. Yuuki has stuff like that we just haven't seen. For example, on her passive, she increases movement speed. This is something we haven't seen. I need to use this character or use a character like this to tell you how good that truly is, or it's just fluff that doesn't really mean a ton. I don't really know. The reset skill cooldown, that type of stuff was, I believe, completely resetting anyway, was introduced with Alice and Yuuki, and it's still really good here. And on Asuna, we have, again, intelligence buffing, or whatever int means. I assume it's intelligence. Anyways, so we have that type of buffing here, which if you remember my video where I talked about Yuuki and Alice, I said, hey, I don't love these characters, and she's another one here. No, she's not. Okay, never mind. She's completely magic. That's great. I don't love the characters that are magic and strength based because their stat distribution is terrible between both, and they can't really buff both. And most of the cards and characters that are offering support are not offering it for intelligence. Well, here is a character that I think could age incredibly well, at least for the immediate future, with the intelligence-based stuff that she's offering as buffs and stuff. So let's go back to Yuuki. We kind of talked about her a little bit. Physical damage plus 400 power, no effects, no charge, anything like that. Also, I need to know how many hits she does, because that's a very important thing too. Typically Asuna cards do a lot of hits. Some characters just do more hits, and that also impacts the rush increase. Well, not the awakening increase, excuse me, a little bit differently. So wind element physical damage with 1300 power and inflict stun. Stun is very powerful. Cooldown is only 9 seconds. Obviously she does a full cooldown reset, so there's that, but 1300 is very powerful too. 600 here, wind element physical damage. Is this an AoE hit? Are these AoE hits? What's the range on these? These are things that are kind of really hard to say just by reading this, because they don't tell us this information, unlike a game like Dragon Quest Die or several other games where they tell you that information, or they literally have a graph. I can't really tell you. I need to see this stuff in action. But on the surface, this is nothing special. 7 cooldown seconds is also, it's good, but it's kind of whatever. 5500, they're slowly creeping this up. We've seen, I think 55 is the max, but we've seen low numbers, like I think 3000 is the lowest I've seen, or 4000, but 5000 is the average. Wind element skill power plus 10% when using switch, so she's going to do more damage. All of her hits are wind based, except for her wind element here. Okay, all of her hits are wind based. When performing a timely switch, resets skill cooldown completely. When using a skill cancel, that's another thing that's introduced here with Yuuki. Skill cancel, strength plus 20%. If you're not sure what that is, it's where you are using one of these skills and then you transition into the next one. For example, Yuuki, his first skill here, he jumps in the air and then hits the ground, and he does like an AoE around him ice type move. and then he's stuck in that animation for another second, second and a half, 2 seconds afterwards, you can actually cancel the end of that by hitting his other attack, right? That's what that is. Now, that's very, it's very common stuff that you're going to want to do with pretty much any character, because a lot of them have some sort of like pause after they do the skill, but they're really incentivizing it here. A strength increase of 20% for 10 seconds is very powerful. And again, the movement speed when using switch plus 5% for 60 seconds. I mean, she's going to be the fastest mover. That has utility in it. She'll be able to get out of a danger zone whenever there's an enemy attack coming her way. But I just need to see how that works. And, you know, the skill cancel thing seems like she's going to be, what I'll say, it seems like she's very easy to just get a lot of damage, because using skill cancel, using a regular switch, these are very easy things to do. So she should be doing a ton of damage. And I need to know these attacks. Are they AoE hits or what? What is the range on them? These things matter. All right. But I will say, since they're physical, the range isn't going to be very high, for the record. Magic-based attacks can pretty much go across the entire board, generally speaking. So speaking of magic, we have a water element, magical attack here, 400 power. Water element magical damage with 1000 power and a stun increase as well, or inflict as well. 13-second cooldown there for that one instead of 9. But I think that's the trade-off, is because of the perceived range with it being a magical attack. Water element magic here, 800 power and inflicting freeze. Now, the new Yu-Gi-Oh, the summon one, not the Integrity Knight one from the Battle Pass, I'm pretty sure it's the summon one, interacts with freeze. Is it freeze or frozen? Also, by the way, aren't those the same thing? Why does this game, they can't be the same thing. They sound like they're the same thing, but they can't be, because they're listed differently. Anyways, I'm pretty sure he interacts with freeze, in which case that would be good for him, because I believe he gets an extra increase in damage when the enemy is frozen. Freeze? Whatever, I have to go back and look at it. I'm pretty sure they say different things. Don't quote me on that, because I could be wrong. I am not perfect. 5,000 damage here. By the way, the rush increase is massive with that one, and Yuuki only had 2. So the trade-off for Yuuki was the extra damage, but a very low rush increase. Most of the attacks are going to have a high rush increase, or a full rush increase gauge at the bottom. All right, water element skill power plus 10%. Whole party switch cooldown minus 10%. So she's basically got, what is that Lifa ability card built into her switches. Very nice. The Lifa ability card is one of the better ones. It was probably like a top 2 or 3 ability card on launch before we got all these, like, there's been like 10 more ability cards released. So probably was. Intelligence plus 10% when using switch for 30 seconds. And when using switch, switched in characters. Intelligence plus, I'm just going to say intelligence. Int plus 10% for 30 seconds. So when she uses switch, she's offering a buff. We see this all the time on a lot of characters. And I'm sorry if I don't give a lot of credit to SRs, because there might be some SRs that were doing this type of stuff too. It's just I don't have the agency over my character box to improve those SRs right now, because they don't give us enough bits or whatever the gold is, and they don't give us enough of the capsules to train. I can't get to those characters yet. So sometimes SRs do have some powerful effects, but what I'll say is we've been seeing strength increases, and we're finally starting to see the int increases as well. So very nice. Last thing I'll say is we'll take a look at the cards here. Skill power plus, again, I don't really like this. This is a maxed out version. What is the bottom? The regular one copy that you're probably going to get and just move on, because you won't get these maxed anytime soon unless you're going to spend money, probably, unless you're absurdly lucky. I assume it's 10%. If it's 5%, we'll go from 5 and 10, and we'll talk about it from there. Skill power when using skill cancel. So this is, they typically produce these cards that work really well with the character, obviously. So it's going to work incredibly well with her with the skill cancel. So she's going to get extra damage, basically. Even if it's 5 or 10, still going to be nice. You're going to want it on her. An additional plus 20% when using wind element skills. So wind element skills is Yuuki Sinnoh might still be the best wind character in the game, just because of the range and damage. I need to see how Yuuki plays though, but Sinnoh might be the best. So either way, this is going to be an incredible card for Sinnoh, and we also don't have a lot of wind element cards increasing skill power as well. So very nice, even if these numbers are 5 and 10%. However, the issue with this card is it's increasing int on stats. It's going to be probably 400 naturally there without any dupes inflicted or put into the card. So the int increase is a magic based increase. So wind magic isn't really a thing right now, is it? Like Sinnoh and Silica, these characters are mainly doing, if not only, primarily at least, physical stuff. So this is a card that may age better. It doesn't work well with Yuuki. She's not doing int-based things unless int interacts with some sort of ranged attacks, or it doesn't only interact with magical attacks. I don't know. They don't tell us these things, and the guides in the game don't tell you these things either. They don't even tell you what the status elements actually do, by the way. It's so bare bones, there's no way to know unless you actually test it. I really like the art for this card. Skill power plus 20% when using skill cancel. Oh, okay. So it's the same card, but there's a physical one. Well, okay. So, okay, I guess they're trying to be cute here. Okay. Well, this would make more sense if Asuna was a wind character, not a water character. But what they did here was they gave Asuna, basically, not really, because she's not a wind character. They basically gave Asuna this, and they gave Yuuki this. They're the same. When using skill, yeah, plus it's the exact same card, except stat distribution is different from physical to magic. Okay. So, I don't need to explain this one anymore. So the deal with these characters is they're not limited like this banner. This banner is going away on Christmas Day, by the way. You can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be another banner within another week and a half on Christmas to replace this, or like a day or so before this banner leaves. There will be another banner going up, but try not to get overwhelmed, because these characters are going to be added to the general pool. I think the banner has to leave before they get added there, but these are not limited characters from what I've seen. So there should be no reason to really prioritize these. If I am mistaken, please let me know in the comments. So they're powerful characters. I think Asuna is actually particularly powerful. And secondly, they're also boosted in the event, so that is another reason to go for these characters for the boosted point drops in the events, which will lead to your rewards and things like that improving, obviously. So it's a little bit of a give and take with that, but nonetheless, I would say that personally, unless you're really trying to build these teams right now with these colors, I would kind of wait. And the thing is too, with water specifically, they gave this. Is this like the 4th Asuna in this game already? Is this the 4th or 5th? Seriously, it is, right? They gave us that free Asuna who's completely maxed. If you summon and got Yu-Gi-Oh, that's 2 out of your 3 already. There are some really solid water plugs as well that you can use for SR characters. Is there another water SSR I can't think of? No, not really. Wind is kind of whatever, but again, Sinnoh on there, Silica there, they do damage, they do support. Leafa was a kind of okay character, so you could kind of do that too. So my point is you can make do, right? Especially if you happen to spend money on this game and you bought the battle pass. If you bought the battle pass, you have a fully limit broken Yu-Gi-Oh, Integrity Knight, and Asuna for free from the movie too. So like, water is set, especially with it being mainly physical anyway right now. So it is what it is. I wouldn't say this is too high of a priority. The characters are gonna, again, this is a new game anyway. All these characters are gonna be in this game for however many years this game lasts. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in those other videos.